Hello, YouTube. Today I am joined with not only me, but as you can see, myself, and occasionally sometimes throughout the video, Adam had requested a paid day off. Unfortunately, he does not get paid enough to be paid. That being said, we have actually started something new. As you can tell, it is not the weekend. It is Tuesday. And we're starting something kind of, like I said, new. Trying to span the content throughout the week in shorter, more precise videos focusing on singular topics. Kind of generally trying to keep it between 10 and 20 minutes. This one might be a bit longer just because we have a lot to get through. So yeah, later on throughout the week, Adam will come out with his own video, and that's how it's going to be kind of throughout the week. Every week, so the weekends will not get affected. Fortunately, what that means for us is it'll be less we'll have to get through on the weekend. The ability to cover again on the weekend, the live stream, more precise things that we could talk about, whatever we didn't get throughout the week. Just things that are happening. That obviously news is news. It's continuously, coming out and updating and refreshing. So the weekend will allow us to stay on top of that. But with the help of these weekly videos, it will help us to sort of cut down on the length, so to say, if somebody were, somebody wanted to go back and watch the streams. That being said, more news. We've actually brought somebody else onto the team. So not only is it now just me and unfortunately not here, Adam, but we also have a new dude on, John. John will be handling the more social media aspect of the things, I believe, as well as also maybe helping curate some articles to help us in the video making process. He has, I think he said he had editing skills. So it's good to have. Obviously, we just started, second live stream, still, trying to get everything battened down and straightened out. Obviously, it's sort of a work in progress type thing. These things, it takes time to sort of get these things done. We're all new at this. So, and of course, part of this effort right here with the weekly videos comes from the feedback from you guys. And obviously that comes from you hitting the bell notification, subscribing, liking, leaving a comment, all that thing, it all really goes a long way. And it really helps us out. So yeah, we have a lot to get through today. Not, too terribly much. Not like it's going to be an hour again, trying to keep it between 10 and 20 minutes. But we do have some stuff to get through. And what we have today is actually something I wanted to cover on last weekend's podcast, but I kind of glanced over a little bit, as well as some new information that we have with us today. What are we talking about? Well, what am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you what I'm talking about. So, the topic of today's video is going to be more focused on the coronavirus. Obviously, here we are, 2020. A lot's been going on. You still have to deal with the coronavirus. I still have to deal with the coronavirus. And unless you're somewhere out in like Arizona in the middle of the desert, this still largely affects you, which is very unfortunate. And I think it's, kind of blown way out of proportion. And I'll tell you why. Again, we do have the statistics from the last podcast, and, those actually have not changed. We still have, you still have a high survival rate. I'm talking almost, 99.9998% survival rate for anybody. Under the age of 70. And for the people over the age of 70, it's not like it's any drastic. I think it literally drops down to a 99.994 percent chance of survival rate. And there are some people that we have to protect. Obviously, we don't know everything about the virus. There could be, long-term effects. We don't know everything. This is a new virus. So we're kind of going to have to work with it. But we are coming to the end of the year, and we do, I think, know pretty much a lot of the things that probably most of what we could know about this virus by this point. In fact, we're already at the point where Operation Warp Speed, which is what we're going to be talking about today, has come out on top, absolutely killing it. A lot of people I know, especially towards the more right side of things, as opposed to the left, kind of are like, whatever, it's a vaccine, and they kind of don't want to associate with the vaccine. I believe, what, hey, better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And what I mean by that is the vaccine will be good in the sense that everybody who is worried and everybody that doesn't want to have to disappear under a mask for the rest of forever doesn't have to. Obviously, now that there's a vaccine, it's going to be more akin to what I perceive to be the flu, where you'll get your shot and you'll probably never have to really worry about it again, which is good, especially for those people over 70, where it really more affects than everybody else, especially people with pre-existing conditions. This would be good for them, and we're getting closer. At this point, it really doesn't matter who's president. This vaccine, will come out, and obviously huge strides. So something that happened, breaking news that I believe was released yesterday. Another company called Novavax. So we have Moderna and we have Pfizer. Those two companies were competing, saying that they had, no, I have the stronger vaccine. No, I have the stronger vaccine. No, I have, which is a good thing. It's a good thing in the sense that because there's competition, everybody's trying to be the best, and it makes them strive to do better, which, obviously the better the vaccine, the better it will be in the end for everybody. So Novavax came out and they said that their vaccine was ready to receive federal funding to start producing doses. I believe. So they're going to have enough doses, obviously, just as the other companies would, and they're claiming that theirs has. I have not seen a specific number, not like Pfizer and Moderna. Pfizer with I believe they just said that they had a 95.5% successful rate vaccine, while Moderna still has their 94.5. All that Novavax claims is to have an over 90%, which, I mean, that could be 91.2 and 94. We just don't know. They're already looking at federal funding. So Novavax claims that it's already in its third stage of development, which is good. It has to reach, I believe it's a third of the four stages that it has to go through for its trials before it starts to get released through federal funding. Now, the sort of, I'm not sure what is going to come out of the logistics of it. I remember back, I believe a few months ago, they were talking about how the military was already set up and ready to go to start delivering the vaccine, which a lot of people, especially on the right, are sort of skeptical of. I have a lot of faith that I believe the military would probably have the best solution, only because there's a base everywhere. So they're already on stage 3. I believe that Moderna as well as Pfizer are already at that stage. Operation Warp Speed does aim to focus on America first. A lot of people on the left, a lot of people in the liberal sort of groups have been saying that it should be more, especially on Biden's team, says that it should be the minimal dose number for America than everybody else, and then America afterwards, which I think is kind of sort of messed up. This is our operation. This is our plan. This was put forth by President Trump under, he ran with America first, and, make America great again. I believe that this was his operation. It should go through under America and then everybody else afterwards. Americans have invested the absolute most into this. We do the most testing per capita. We do the most treatments per capita, dealing with, obviously, a large country in comparison to, Britain, France, Germany, other allied countries. So it should really be us first, I think, and then it should go on out of our borders to help everyone else. Again, I believe that Britain, France, and Germany would sort of do similar things. It is their country first, it's my family before my friends, right? You always put your family before your friends, and that's America, right? America is a family as a whole. We may be divided, but I mean, what family at some points isn't? So it really should be America first, then we worry about everybody else. I don't know. I'm not the one calling the shots. We'll have to see if this makes it in time either before the inauguration and the transfer of power or afterwards. We'll have to see. We'll be at the mercy of the ones at that point. But something else that has come to mind that I wanted to get through last weekend, but I did not, was there was a test done, I believe, by the Danish. And the Danish study found that masks, the masks that we all wear, everybody wears their masks. Not only does the new Danish study find masks don't protect wearers from COVID infection, but similar studies have also stated that not only does it not protect you from the coronavirus, but unless you're washing these masks in a hospital-grade washing machine where it gets hot enough to really sterilize it, these masks actually don't do a whole lot for you, especially when you're constantly touching the mask and moving it around. There are other countries that have gotten around this by teaching proper PEE courses on wearing masks and showing people how to properly wear them. But I still believe in those sort of circumstances, it may not be enough. It's the little things, touching stuff and, putting it down. There's no way to sanitize everything. I mean, you're at a grocery, as Adam said last video, you're at a grocery store, somebody picks up an apple, they put that apple down, next guy grabs it, takes it home and eat it. You can't sterilize an apple, or can you really guess which apple is sterilized? I guess you could go home and wash it with soap and water, but I don't know how much more effective that would be than putting this in your washing machine. So to break into what the Danish study finds, and this is from the Foundation for Economic Education, researchers in Denmark reported on Wednesday that the surgical masks did not protect the wearers against infections. They ended up doing was they took a bunch of people, and unlike other studies that came out inconclusive, they didn't just spray aerosol at it. They came out, they took a bunch of people. It was about 6,000 participants, and they had them all go out in the real world and do what they were doing. And then they had them tested before. So 6,000 participants, which is really a good way to get a good number, especially in the real world. Now, it's not like, again, taking this masks and putting an aerosol can to it and spraying it and saying, well, it protects the aerosol. This is now testing it with real people in the real environments. And what they found was that it really didn't matter who wore the masks and who didn't wear the masks. The people who wore the masks still got the virus at almost the exact same rate as the people who didn't wear masks. And unless it's the N95, which is a really high-grade surgical mask, which even that is kind of testy because, again, people are still opted to touch the things on their face. We're not really meant to wear things on our face constantly 100% of the time. So, of course, you're going to get uncomfortable. You might get itchy, so you want to scratch, your nose or something like that. And you're prone to touch your face, your masks, which, again, doesn't really help you as the wearer. So it was really interesting when I saw this. I kind of looked at it and I'm like, well, that's kind of funny because I kind of felt that way about it. Obviously, I'm not an expert. So, if Fauci and the other people who claim they're experts know better, then, who am I to argue? So Denmark researchers did find out from this, in the Danish from this study that the masks, unless they are, again, the N95 mask or just a straight up hazmat suit, do not really do much for you. And again, it really, as the statistics that we had covered prior, with it being almost a 99.9998% survival rate for anybody under 70, not counting any prolonged effects that happened afterwards, it is pretty safe to say that, especially with these vaccines coming out, which have a 95, a 94, and a somewhere in the 90 range percent success rate, you would think that Americans would be kind of more positive and a bit more open to this. and throwing out less resistance, which I would imagine. Obviously, that doesn't seem to be the case. Everybody's still wrapped up in fear. We had, I think it was Gavin Newsom had ended up throwing a fit because he was caught in a restaurant not wearing a mask, and he ended up throwing everything into a lockdown, which obviously is a horrible mess. And it was ironic that he wasn't wearing a mask and nobody else was wearing a mask at the table, but he was with the medical board for California, and that just kind of seems a bit greasy, especially because you'd think these people would know better. And if they do know better, and they're here in the restaurant sitting at a table, with no masks on, then why set up, as I had talked about in the last video, why set up a curfew? Because obviously this virus doesn't go to bed, right? And you can't scream at people at Trump rallies for not wearing masks when they over there in New York and the news broke and people are over there, drinking from the same wine bottles and no masks on. I mean, could you even, I don't know, I'm a simple guy, but it just doesn't really sound right that these people are telling us what's what, and doing something else. It's almost like a freedom for me, but not Vidi kind of sort of story. And again, I had a conversation with somebody close to me, and I said, I don't want this to control me. It's a virus. Let's get this vaccine. Wear your masks in a store, and let's move by it. Let's move past this. We need our economy to recover. At the moment, we're at almost another historic low point, and we should really just be moving past this. And they had responded to me saying that it's not controlling the life, it's just for a little bit, and that we have to. But when you start imposing curfews on me, when you start forcing me to wear a mask and, telling me to social distance and stuff, and you start telling me, like Rhode Island did, they start telling us what they're going to keep open and what they're going to close down, then it starts to feel like you really don't care about me, and you're sort of now holding me down. What about all the mom and pop shops that are now struggling, that can't reopen after this because these people aren't expecting to take a blow like this. Nobody prepares to take a blow like this. It's not like every year we're preparing the books for a virus. We talked about Novavax and how the Novavax corona vaccine is now coming out next to Moderna and Pfizer. We'll have to see which one gets chosen, which one will be the most successful, and how it will be issued out into the American public hopefully before going out to the rest of the world, because I believe that America should really get this under control. Again, it is our initiative. It is our program. It is our operation. We should be handling this within borders before sending it outwards. Obviously, family before friends. And hopefully with this, we can really start to see ourselves getting better and really picking ourselves up from all of this. So we'll have to see where this goes. Obviously, there will be more on the weekend coming up about this. Adam will have his video. He's going to be talking about what's developing in the world of this election and however that will fare out. That will happen either, most likely Friday. But again, if he's not able to get that out, obviously this is a holiday week. If he isn't able to push it out, obviously it'll be covered, sometime either the weekend or the week following. So that's something to look forward to. Obviously, new things. I'll try to get this underway and trying to figure out how everything's working out here. Sorry for the video being a bit longer than I intended it to be. But other than that, thank you for joining me here today on this new sort of project I'm starting. And we'll see you later in the week.